Welcome back to the 2015 BYU Football Media Day live web chats. We have two very special guests from the 4 decades of dominance show. We have Janimal Jorgensen here with us and Dennis Pitta.
Janimal.
I'm going to try and keep this as professional as possible.
That's going to be tough.
Doing?
That's going to be tough.
It's going to be very tough with Dennis.
Yeah, it gets hostile when
gets
Jan and I are in the same room.
Did you know that Dennis used to dodge me all of the time? He would purposely line up on the other side of the field so he didn't have to go against me.
Jan,
is that true, Dennis?
No part of me feared you ever on the field. So
he has a beard now, though. You both do.
That's
Does that
true.
change things?
Mine's better, though.
Yeah, his comes in thicker. Mine's like real spotty.
It's pretty
which
patchy.
I'm pretty jealous about. But
I mean, last year we talked about your one mustache.
Fu Manchu.
Your Fu Manchu.
I mean, you got to get the lingo right if you're going to talk about it.
Yes,
it's a Fu Manchu. I know.
Right.
The one thing on your face
right
that was terrible looking. It was bad looking.
Yours is much better up here, though.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm good here, but
yeah, that's
here.
true. I mean, I'm phenomenal up top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that 4 decades of dominance show? Like, when was the last time you guys saw each other?
In the octagon a couple of weeks ago, we were sparring.
I think the last time we saw each other was the East West Shrine game.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
That was 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years since Dennis and I have seen each other.
Dennis, it's
been too long.
How has Jan changed since the last time you saw him?
Nah, he hasn't really changed. No, he's pretty much the same. I don't know. I mean, he looks stronger to me.
Okay.
Not really.
Stronger.
I don't know.
You told me he could lift like a diesel truck when he was in college. So
you want to know how Dennis has changed?
That's not true. How have I changed, Jan?
You developed osteoporosis.
Besides being a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I do. I do have the hip of an 80-year-old, which you pointed out to me earlier.
I did.
Yeah.
Other than that, you look very.
But
good.
it's a healthy 80-year-old. I'll tell you that.
Where's the ring?
I don't even have a wedding ring on, and I am married. That leads me into an interesting topic. Can I ask some questions?
Please do. No, please take over.
I know this is your show, but I feel like I need to take the reins on this one because.
Please do. I don't know.
I noticed in passing. Now nobody told me this, but I was walking down the hallway a little bit ago, and you grabbed Jan's hand, and I didn't really think anything of it, and I thought, oh, that was weird, and then I inquired about it a little bit, and come to find out.
The girls grab my hands all the time.
According to Jan,
he's really
you guys
scared.
hold hands a lot.
No, it's because Jan gets scared a lot. We're just really good friends.
Okay.
And he's like, I really need someone to hold my hand to get me through this.
Because I was going to ask, who would want to be in a relationship with Jan?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's quite the question.
Yeah.
Let's rein it in real quick. Let's go back to the 4 decades of dominance. So
I feel like we're trying to skirt a couple questions that I have. Number one.
We'll get back to those.
Number one,
later.
how long have you guys been involved?
So you guys were around. A lot of really.
Jan tells me it's 5 months. Is that true?
Oh my gosh.
Oh goodness.
Dennis. Who's doing the interview here?
It's true.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
True, Dennis.
All right, I won't mention anything about it, but Jan.
You pretty much already did, though.
I know.
So.
I know. The cat's out of the bag. You guys are. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Wow.
I want you to know that.
That's nice. So we're reining it in.
Okay.
You were just with a bunch of BYU greats, including yourselves, in that room. What was that like for you guys to be around all those players? We'll start with Jan.
It was a lot of fun to be around guys from other decades that you watched play growing up and that we watched highlights of, and you always hear about the national championship team, the Miracle Bowl team, and to be in a room, the Cotton Bowl team, to be in a room with guys from all those eras was really cool. It was a lot of fun to see everybody just kind of put BYU where it's at right now.
What about for you, Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, like Jan said, it's a lot of fun being with those guys. Guys that you grew up watching and being fans of, and then now you get to interact with them and talk to them, and they're come up and say, man, I've enjoyed watching you, and I'm a fan of you, and so that's just really cool, and it put things in perspective, and it was a lot of fun being in that kind of environment with those guys.
Of all those guys that you guys saw down there, if you could play with one of them from any of the eras, who would you pick and why?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I think for me is you watch. One of my best memories of BYU football is the Miami game. The Ty Detmer, Miami coming in to LaVell Edwards Stadium, #1 in the country, and seeing what that team did. So if there was one, I'd probably choose that. I mean, like 84, everybody's going to say I want to win a national championship, but that was an iconic moment for me. So I think I would choose that team.
But you said player.
I did say player. I was actually
Jan,
just
communication skills. That's critical in a relationship. I'll take this question. Who threw for the most passing yards? Was it Ty Detmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take Ty Detmer because he would throw me the ball a lot. Sorry, Max Hall. Great quarterback.
That's rough. That might cause some family
it is
relationship
rough.
problems.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go there, but I'm a tight end, and what is directly tied to my success? Quarterback play. And I had a great quarterback, which I'm thankful for. But Ty Detmer, I mean, you have a Heisman Trophy, you have countless passing records. I mean, that's inflated stats for me, and that's what I'm all
We're watching Ty Detmer down here. Here's a couple highlights
Love
from
it.
him.
I'm glad that I could give you your answer, by the way. And that's very much like Dennis Pitta to just be thinking about himself.
Yeah, but I answered it correctly. You didn't listen. You just kind of went to the best team, whatever.
Dan, is there a specific player from that team, 1990 team?
Well,
would it be Ty Detmer as well?
I can't say Ty Detmer now because Dennis just took that. But Ty Detmer, yes, Ty Detmer. He's the guy I would choose.
Really? You're going to say the same thing that I said? Whatever.
If you guys had to make an argument of why your era, those years that you played, was the best in BYU history, what would you say?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's tough to compare eras, but I mean, I definitely feel like I definitely feel like we were the best, I mean, everybody in that show was saying 1984 team, 1996 team. I wanted them to ask me because I was going to say the 2008 team or whatever. Were you on that team?
I was on that
team. Yeah, you were on that team.
I was on all of your teams.
That's right. We graduated together.
You in fact played together all 4 years, so.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were a pretty dang good team, but that was just me.
I thought
line us up against the 84 team and let's see what happened. Let's see how much havoc Jan Jorgensen wreaks in that backfield.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Give me some, why would you be the best? What is about your team that would make you that good?
Defensively, we were better than all of those teams. All those teams were very good offensive teams. They all scored a lot of points. We're watching Ty Detmer put up tons of points and big comebacks and all of those things, but our defenses were really good. And under Coach Mendenhall, he brought a level of defense that I don't think any of these eras ever had. And so when we had an offense like our Max Hall, Dennis Pitta, Austin Colley, Harvey Young on offense, we had all that firepower that those teams had. But then our teams had better defenses. So I think it's where we outmatched them.
I know it hasn't been too long since you guys played, but Jan, how has the defense changed from when you played to now?
The players.
Okay.
It's still the same. It's still the same system.
Really good answer.
It's still the same system, though. The system is very similar from when I played, and you see them. They've had ups and downs. Last year was a bit of a down year for the defense, but other than last year, they've been on par with where we were at. And Coach Mendenhall is he's a tough defensive coordinator that makes sure everybody does their job exactly right. And so watching them play defense isn't a whole lot different than how we played. I think they'll go back to that again this year.
They had way cooler uniforms than we had.
Yeah.
Look at those black uniforms.
I know they're sweet, huh?
They are cool.
And they're all royal. But you guys had all royal uniforms.
No, we just had the royal tops. They didn't let us go all royal.
We didn't go all royal?
No, Jan.
Well, that's disappointing.
It
Dennis,
really is.
So
Yeah.
from an offensive perspective, seems like back then they threw the ball to the tight end a little more, but besides that, how has the offense changed from what you've seen from then to now?
I think we've done a good job of tailoring the offense to the players that we have. When we were playing, we had Max Hall, who was a pocket passer, could really throw the ball accurately all over the field. And, we had good tight ends and we had really good receivers. And so that was a strength of our offense, and we were able to throw the ball all over people. And that really opened up the run as well. So we were pretty balanced on that front, but I think in the offense that we see today, you have Taysom, who's such a great athlete that he can make so many plays with his legs. He doesn't have to be strictly a pocket passer. And so, you see them kind of tailor the offense more to his strengths and the people that are around him. So a lot of zone read type plays, a lot of things where he can get outside the pocket, make plays on the run. And obviously everything starts with the run game in this offense.
If you guys had to pick one guy on this current team that reminds you the most of yourself, it could be playing style or personality if you know him that well, but who would you pick?
They have to pick the kicker for you?
Yeah. Who is the
I
kicker?
don't know. Who's the kicker?
Samson?
Well, punter?
I don't know.
You remind me of a
I'm not a
punter.
kicker, Jan. Okay.
You remind me of one, though.
Really?
You always use the hard J, Jan.
Yeah, I like to really emphasize the J in Jan. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, it's tough because I don't even know who the tight ends are this year, to be honest. I mean, Devin Mahina was,
Brian Sampson.
Brian Sampson. Didn't you say that was the kicker, Sampson? Are they all the same name?
Maybe that's the only name that
Samsonite.
sticks
We
in
were
my
way
head.
off. Okay.
That's it.
Great setup, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I really like watching Mitch Matthews play because he's a big guy. You know, he's not going to blow by people with his speed, but he's got great hands. He goes up and makes a lot of contested catches, and he's just fun to watch. And I think if I had to compare myself to anybody, maybe.
It's who I
Plus,
would
he's
have
got
chosen.
sweet hair, right?
He has great hair.
Yeah.
Great hair.
So
I would have
do you, by
chosen
the way.
him for you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I would choose the guy who was actually my little brother when I was a senior, Remington Peck. He's a guy who plays my
Ooh.
same position, a guy who works really hard, tough, hard-nosed guy that goes out there and plays. So I'd choose Remington.
One last question for you guys. If you had to give some advice for this 2015 season, they're going to arguably one of the hardest schedules in BYU history. What would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, it's the old football cliche. You got to take it one game at a time. And you look at a schedule like this, and you see all these games out there that are such important games and big ones. And you just got to focus on the next opponent. And who do they play first? I don't even know the schedule. Nebraska. I mean, that's a storied.
72 days.
72 days. Is
Yes,
that
you're
right?
wondering.
That's coming up.
You would have think you would have gotten to know the schedule being here today.
Yeah, nobody showed me. Yeah, you would have thought they would have at least showed me a schedule. Prep me a
You'd
little
think
bit
so.
on this.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have done it on
It's
your
everybody
own.
else's fault.
Yeah, I mean, you
it's
got
not
to
yours.
focus. I mean, that's the thing. You got to focus on each game. Focus on Nebraska, and then can't get too high. You can't get too low on a season like that. We had huge wins and we had tough losses, and you just got to kind of work through all of it.
One game at a time.
It's a good advice. I think if there's anything that I would add to it is I would just say do things right. I think our teams that we definitely had a team first attitude. We didn't really focus on individuals. It was especially by the time Dennis and I got to be seniors, we had a lot of stars on our team. We had a lot of big names. We had guys like Dennis. We had Max, who was at the time being talked about in Heisman Trophy talk. You had Harvey. We had a lot of really good players, but it was all about the team. And I think that BYU's missed that a little bit over the last few years. And I think that this group is getting that, and I would say continue with that. Make it about the team and moving forward and doing it together. And I think that they will if they do.
That's really good advice. Guys, thanks for being here with us. It was fun, a little awkward, but we had a good time.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Jan
That's
gave me the okay to talk about it.
I did no such thing.
Coming up are the Jorgensen twins in a couple minutes.